Canada stands with the people of Venezuela following the catastrophic earthquakes that have caused significant loss of life and widespread destruction. Infrastructure, schools, hospitals, apartment buildings have been leveled. The death toll is rising and thousands are unaccounted for. That is why yesterday Canada announced an initial $5 million in urgent humanitarian assistance to support life-saving relief efforts, including food, water, health services, and emergency support for those most affected. We will be looking to continue to do more, and I'm working with my officials to contact Canadians in Venezuela to support them as needed. We are also working closely with our embassy in Colombia to ensure that humanitarian support is distributed and that Canadians are supported.
That is Canada's Foreign Affairs Minister, Anita Anand, talking about what Canada is doing to help the victims of those earthquakes in Venezuela. Carlos Burgués is on the line. He is a Venezuelan and Quebecer who was in Valencia, which, from what I understand, was about 60 kilometers from the epicenter of the earthquakes, and he is on the line. Mr. Burgués, first of all, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you for asking.
Explain to us, I said you're about 60 kilometers away, but obviously that doesn't necessarily guarantee you safety. What happened where you were? How much devastation or destruction happened there? Any?
So in Valencia, there are buildings that were affected, but up to now, no buildings have collapsed. And from what I've heard or what I've investigated, it's probably due to the soil. We have a much firmer ground here, but we are closer to the epicenter of where more devastating things happen, like Caracas and La Guaira. But it felt pretty strong. I'm on a 13th floor. I was in my sister's room next to my dad's room, which he is 83 years old. He recently underwent surgery, so he couldn't move very much. And our initial reaction was we were with our two dogs. So I grabbed my dog. My sister was chasing after her, so I went to the terrace because we're in a penthouse, which, by the way, was very scary because the dog was basically on the terrace, barking outside. So she was in the midst of everything trembling, jumping from the window to the balcony to be able to save her and come back to the room. And we initially, because Venezuela is a seismic place, we've felt tremors before, never like this. What we try to do, since we're in a 13th floor and going down the stairs is a long way, we go to our terrace, which is quite big, and we don't have concrete over our heads. However, in the midst of me trying to get my dad to stand up, it was so strong, the shaking and things collapsing, like frames, the TV, amongst other stuff. And I'm fit, I can get him to stand, but the tremor was so intense that I couldn't do anything about it. So there was a point that I just gave up and said, you know what, if it's it, because there was not much I can do. Thankfully, our building was not affected structurally or anything. And it was it was shocking.
I was going to say, in a sense, I saw a video of one apartment building. Someone, I guess, had their phone with them trying to get out of their building, and you could actually see concrete falling as this person was trying to get out of their building, going down from floor to floor to floor. It was terrifying. You didn't have that, but did you really think that, you were done? Was that building going to collapse at some point? Is that how it felt?
Honestly, the shaking was so hard and there was nothing we could do that I had no idea what could happen. In that time, you don't really, so many thoughts go through your mind and you're helpless. There's not much you can do, but it felt so strong that, I don't know, I was just hoping for the best.
Are you there? Are you able to stay there now?
Yeah. Our building, thankfully, is anti-seismic, but nonetheless, thank God, there's no damage whatsoever. And we had engineers come over to check, and it's perfect, thank God.
Okay.
Here in Valencia, though, there are buildings that are affected that people had to go out, but the greatest damage was in La Guaira and Caracas. There are also zones near the coast that were heavily affected. I was actually right now helping out to send the goods to other places that are not La Guaira and Caracas, where many, I've read that over 500 buildings have collapsed in all those zones.
Wow. Again, I can't imagine. You see pictures of devastation. I said one of them we saw was from a satellite image of an area. I'm not sure which it was, but you saw all these tall buildings, and then the next image was Of the 6 buildings we saw, 5 had completely collapsed. Only 1 was left standing.
Yeah, and probably that one left standing, people have to evacuate because after everything that happened, it
Right.
might, like with the aftermath, collapse as well.
What are you being told with respect to what's next here? Are you being told to? I mean, I understand you're not exactly in the middle of this. Are people being told to evacuate? What is the situation like now, from what you've seen?
So basically, right now, and I actually have many friends in Caracas going down to La Guaira, trying to help and taking people out of the debris. And it's very, very frustrating because the government is not doing enough. And I've seen so many places where people have been waiting for it happened 2 days ago. Like in 2 hours, it's 48 hours. And there are places in La Guaira where no officials have been going, and it's just like the neighbors trying to get people out of the debris, but it's hard because without proper machinery you cannot do that.
I don't even know what to say other than I'm glad you're safe and your family is okay. Are you planning? You said you have friends going to help. Is that part of your plan here? Do you plan to try to get there to help out?
Yeah, going there actually, like with all the military and stuff, it's not the easiest thing to do.
Okay.
What the best course of action right now, where I actually came back from it, is finding donations, food, water, medicine, clothes to send over. And we actually had many people here are doing that, and they're sending trucks like with designated drivers to send first aid and other stuff to the affected zones.
I guess the other thing I would ask was, you said the government is having some difficulty not getting stuff done quickly enough. I did hear the president the other day say that the United States has said that they would be helping out. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. I cannot testify that it's arrived yet. However, I did receive like a WhatsApp chain saying that they needed help for translation. So I'm assuming that
Okay.
things are arriving. Like I reached out, but I'm assuming somebody else got there before me because it was like fully like didn't get a reply even.
With respect to those areas, so you mentioned not in Caracas. The Caracas is the biggest city in Venezuela, and I did see,
That's
and I'm
correct.
not sure if it's that airport. They showed video of the airport. Again, I'm not sure if it was in Caracas, where people actually were running for their lives because apparently the ceiling was collapsing. Have you seen that?
Yeah, so that's correct. Let me
It is.
address something
Okay.
there. When you fly to Venezuela and you fly to Caracas, you're not actually flying to Caracas. You're flying to Maiquetía, which is 1 hour away from Caracas, and that's
Okay.
La Guaira. So the airport that is labeled as Caracas is actually La Guaira,
And that's
or
where
that
this
zone
happened.
at least. Exactly. Well,
Wow.
that's from what I've read, they're further away from the epicenter, but the soil there is much blander. So from what I've read, the seismic waves have higher amplitude. And besides that, in the past 20 years of the government, many buildings were not probably did not follow proper building standards that might have affected as well. Again, it's a mix of information we're
Yeah.
receiving. But yeah, they were definitely further away from us, from the epicenter, yet they received the worst damage.
I wanted to mention again, this was not an earthquake. This was 2 earthquakes literally back to back, right? One 30 seconds after the other. And the second one, even higher magnitude, I think was 7.5 compared to the first one, which was 7.2. Has this ever happened? I know you mentioned being through earthquakes before. I think 6, maybe magnitude 6.2. Has this earthquakes like this ever been worse in Venezuela?
So there was a tragedy in Caracas in 67, I believe, in the 60s that was around like 6.6, 6.7. However, Richter magnitude, like a 7.5 is already 10 times stronger than a 6.5. The
Okay.
strongest I felt was like maybe a 6.0, 6.1 quake, but it only lasted like 20, 30 seconds. This felt like one, like even though it was two, it just felt like one altogether. At the moment, we
Hmm.
just felt the shaking like for over a minute and a half.
Have you had aftershocks as well?
There've been reported several aftershocks. I might have felt a small tremor, but
Okay.
honestly, compared to what we felt, like I really didn't feel anything at all. But apparently, there were many aftershocks recorded.
Okay. Listen, we obviously hope, we pray for the people there. We know that the big issue now, and I remember I said years ago when there was an earthquake, a massive earthquake in Turkey, the issue then was, we said, yes, some people have died, but it turned out the people who were missing, and I know that number is very high in Venezuela, sadly, many of those people did not survive. So we count them as missing now, and we can only hope that they are, in fact, eventually rescued and safe. So I thank you very much for your time. I wish you the best. I please you and your family and stay safe. And if we can call you perhaps sometime next week, we'd like to follow up with you as well.
Of course. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here and help. Thank you as well for diffusing the news. It means a lot.
Carlos Burgués in Valencia, Venezuela, site of those horrific earthquakes yesterday.
Close your eyes and you can hear the entire world come alive. 2026 FIFA World Cup is on, and you can stream it all live on TSN Radio. From the opening kickoff to the final celebration, every match, every moment. Listen to FIFA World Cup on TSN Radio.
Here's Canada, the liftoff!
Available on iHeartRadio.